to another day of youtober. For today's video, I'm sharing with you guys two of my favorite fall baking recipes. These are both plant-based and super festive for the fall time. Both of these recipes have been in my repertoire for a while. One of them is a vegan apple crisp that I've been making with this pumpkin flax granola since I literally lived back at home. I'm talking 2013. And the other one is a recipe that I came up with back in 2018, I believe it was, when I started to become really obsessed with pancakes and donuts. And I combined the two and started making these things called pancake donuts, and I'm still obsessed with them, so I figured I would share both of those recipes with you guys today, but with a twist. So today when we go through the baking recipe B-roll, instead of me telling you guys each of the steps, I'm gonna put the steps up in text overlay as well as leave both recipes down below. While in the background, I figured it would be nice, wholesome, and maybe even a little bit needed that while we bake, I share some wholesome stories that I've sourced off the internet to just make us feel good and warm, because I feel like baking and warm, wholesome stories just make sense to me. So without further ado, let's jump in first and foremost with let's do the pancake donuts in case you guys are looking for something to have for breakfast. Now, while we make these pancake donuts, I want to tell you guys a wholesome Reddit story that I found about a man and his grandmother. So the story goes, hello everyone. So before COVID, I started living with my grandma at my family's farm where I work every day, and we sort of have a weird relationship. She's super strict and doesn't like physical contact that much, but she always makes sure that you have clean towels, bed sheets, shampoo, soap, clean clothes, etc. Before COVID, I used to buy my grandma some cookies and chocolates as a way to say thank you and I love you, since she doesn't really like hugs that much. But since COVID started, money is super tight, and because of that, I haven't been able to give her anything that I used to. Today I was at the store and I saw the butter cookies that she likes, but I had to choose between the cookies or the meat. So I chose to bring home the meat. Yesterday, I was at home at 11 p.m. and saw a video on how to make butter cookies. So I went to the kitchen, gathered all I needed, and started baking. It took me like an hour to make them because I'm not used to cooking and my hands are made for hard work, not baking. But anyways, I give it my best try and I make these cookies. So she wakes up, makes her usual stuff, and starts eating breakfast. I was in the bathroom when I heard her cry. I rushed to her thinking something might have happened when she looks at me and just hugged me and said thank you. She made me cry too. I didn't know how much it would mean to her, and it melted my heart to see her like this. This was the very first time she hugged me in years, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, wow. So while those bake in the oven, can we just talk about this for a second? Oh my God, this grandma. I think that this is actually a very common problem, that we've become as human beings so accustomed to not enjoying like physical touch or hugs. I was actually just reading an Instagram post from a girl named Sarah. I'll leave her Instagram down below, but it hit home with me because I really resonated with it. And she was talking about how she was trying to wrap her head around the fact that she feels strange, like she was watching a Netflix show that was made a few years ago, and seeing people like hug and kiss and physically touch each other felt wrong to her. And it was so weird because I felt like I was having deja vu reading this caption, thinking the exact same thing. I recently watched Emily in Paris. I like watched the whole thing in like 2 days, and the whole time it was weird to me to see people like traveling and, you know, starting new jobs and all of that. And I feel like just in general with COVID, or even without COVID, we as human beings, we've almost become accustomed to being so individual and so independent that it's like weird to hug people now. It's like weird to just show any sort of sentiment. So that story just melted my soul because it was posted by this guy named Chilean German guy. And to think of just this man in a farmhouse baking his grandma butter cookies, and then she sees them in the morning and she just starts crying. Like, that gesture was enough to just crack her wide open and hug her grandson for the first time in forever. Wow, I'm gonna start crying again. That story just warmed my soul just as much as it warmed our pancake donuts. Now, the best thing I love about pancake donuts is you can really top these however you want. I made pumpkin spice ones, but I've gone ahead and made banana bread ones, chocolate chip ones, like basically anything you can put in a pancake, you can put into these pancake donuts. I've done vegan cream cheese icing on top, whipped cream on top, but today I just went with the classic good old vegan butter and maple syrup. You can dunk these in your coffee. You can eat them however you like. You can bake them for a friend or just make them for yourself, and they're just like a fun spin on pancakes and donuts mixed together. story is one that I sourced out of the UK, and I wanted to tell it to you guys because again it warmed my soul. It's about a man named Kalyn Bedford, and he's 84 years old. Here's his picture for reference. Keep this sweet little face in mind while we bake an apple crisp, a vegan apple crisp, mind you, and I tell you guys this wholesome story. So a vintage cycling enthusiast is embarking on a sponsored bike ride for Diabetes UK this month. Kalyn Bedford, 84, from March, Cambridgeshire, will cycle 5 miles a day for 5 days. Each time, he will complete the challenge on different historic bikes while wearing costumes matching the bike's era. The intrepid grandfather will be riding around his town to fundraise for Hinchingbrooke Hospital, which he attends every month for vital diabetes-related eye treatment. Kalyn was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes 30 years ago. The former driving instructor, who estimates he's taught around 10,000 people to drive over a 50-year career, hopes the town gets behind his efforts. Kalyn said, "I must admit, I was inspired by Captain Sir Tom Moore's amazing efforts this year and decided I wanted to give a little back as a thank you for all the help and support that I've received over the years. I get great pleasure from vintage bikes. I even rode a penny farthing alongside the professional cyclists when the Tour de France started in Cambridge. I hope people will enjoy the event and sponsor me, of course." Peter Sherrock, regional head of Diabetes UK Midlands and East, said, "This is such an amazing effort from Kalyn. I wish him all the best for this incredible challenge, and I really hope the whole community gets behind this very special fundraiser." During the past few months, demand for our services has reached unprecedented levels, and our own funding has been significantly impacted. People with diabetes need us now, so we need your support to be able to continue fighting. Now I'm gonna leave the link down below, so if you guys wanna sponsor Kalyn on his vintage bike tour, again, this story just gave me the warm and fuzzies. This is also a recent story, and just the fact that he's riding vintage bikes, making costumes to match the era of each vintage bike, and then doing it all to raise money for the hospital like that. What a pure soul. Oh my god. Now I made this apple crisp for Canadian Thanksgiving. I brought it over to my sister's and brother-in-law's house, and it was a hit. It ended up being really good. The thing I love about using pumpkin flax granola instead of oats or anything like that is that the granola makes it a little bit crunchier, and I love that. There's something about the soft apples mixed with the crunch and then all of that brown sugar that just tastes so good. Now I'll leave both recipes down below and the link to both stories down below, as well as a couple other good wholesome stories that I found in case you guys are just needing a good break from the news. And quickly too, before we dip out of today's YouTober, I do want to give you guys just a bit of an update if you've watched the last 2 YouTober videos. I feel like I mentioned in both of those how I haven't really been feeling all that great, and I haven't really been feeling like myself, and to be honest, I'm still feeling that way. I know there's a couple of you guys that are just on here every single day waiting for the videos, and I love you guys so much for that, but it's been a bit of a struggle, so it's hence why I've looked up feel-good stories for today's baking video. I'm trying to kind of lean into it and create with it. It sucks because I was so looking forward to this YouTober and I was so ahead of the game, and then all the moving around and stuff, it just fell apart in front of my eyes. I have a few videos filmed from when I was in Toronto, and those ones will still go out. And as for the rest of them, I'm gonna just create them when I can. It's hard because I know that this year has been really difficult, and I wanna be able to create content to allow you guys to escape to and just feel comforted and warmed in. I feel like the last thing anyone wants to hear right now is bad news, hence the idea of this video. I'm just trying to honor reality, and reality is, I feel really crappy and I can't explain it, and it's making creating really hard, it's making editing really hard, and all I want to do is just go be around my family right now. One of my most wholesome personal stories that have happened this week is posting that Get Ready With Me, where, I don't know, we were just chilling and I was answering your guys' questions. I was not expecting you guys to respond the way you did. I read so many of your comments, so many of you that told me that you've never commented before, you're not really one to comment on social media or comment on anything or like anything, that you prefer to be a silent viewer, but you wanted to let me know how my content reached you. It actually touched my soul so much. It meant the world to me. I just want you guys to know that. I've been meaning to get on my computer and just respond to as many of you guys as I can, but I honestly just haven't had the energy. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's just where I'm at. They all made me feel just so supported, especially when I'm feeling so out of character and not myself for whatever reason this week. So Anyway, I just wanted to thank you so much. Just give you a little heads up that youtober is a weird wave this year. I'm trying to just surf the wave, but I'm also trying to roll with the waves. So I'm gonna do my best to get the videos out once they're ready, but I'm also gonna allow myself not to force it or push it, because I just feel like, one, that doesn't do you guys any good. I don't want to waste your time with content that I feel like I'm forcing, but also two, honestly barely have the energy to like do anything right now. It's really weird. So I just wanted to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope you guys enjoyed these little wholesome stories and 2 plant-based fall recipes that are my favorites. If you guys end up giving them a try, let me know if you like them. And aside from that, I'll see all of you guys in the next youtober video. Bye guys.